Hello everyone and welcome to the live stream. I hope that you're all doing good tonight. We're going to be hanging out for a couple of hours and I have a couple of topics I want to discuss. I haven't done a discussion stream in like 3 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks, just because we had like E3 and then I wanted to get finished Scarlet Nexus when I was playing that last week. But here we are, we're back again, weekly discussion streams. It was only like 2 weeks, maybe 3. But welcome everyone. So tonight, we're going to be talking about... Oh boy. Well, I guess one thing is good news, right? That's positivity, right? One thing out of 4. It's better than nothing. We're going to be talking about TSR. Now, I have done a video on TSR, and I also discussed TSR in a previous live stream, but I wanted to follow up quickly on the whole TSR situation. Now, if you guys didn't watch that video or anything, basically, TSR 2021 is putting out a game, and there were people attacking the company and also the people behind the company. Mainly Ernie Gygax Jr., who is, you know, Gary Gygax's son. He's one of the founders of TSR 2020. And a bunch of organizations cut ties with TSR games. Gen Con had, like, banned them from, you know, the convention. There was also another one. There was a couple of conventions that came out basically said TSR is not welcome at our cons. And now TSR Games has fired their Twitter manager, hires new PR officer after multiple organizations cut ties with company over founder Ernie Gygax Jr.'s criticism of modern tabletop culture. At first, I was really hopeful because they weren't bending the knee. Okay, at first they were basically saying, we believe in what we believe in, you know, we want to just make games good, we want to focus on escapism, we don't want to, you know, make our games all about politics and being the most diverse, inclusive, and we just want to make good games. But now, it seems like maybe that has changed a little bit, which is unfortunate, but it seems like maybe that's changed a little bit, because suddenly they came out and said, we fired our old Twitter manager. We've hired someone new. There's just something here that for me isn't sitting right, but we're going to be talking about also the new Switch model that was announced today. Nintendo did it. They announced in October there is a new Nintendo Switch coming out, but it is not the Switch Pro everyone expected. It's a little different than the rumors were saying. It's... Guys, I have some thoughts on it, okay? While I'm excited, there's a new Switch model coming out, and I'm excited because I love my Switch. I'm gonna be honest, I'm also a little bit disappointed with what we're getting because it's like we got 60 to 70% of what we wanted, things that people have been asking for years. But it just kind of feels like we're getting a model of the Switch that should have came out 2 years ago. We're also going to be talking about Black Widow. I haven't talked much about Black Widow. I've talked about it a little bit. For me, it's a movie that I think, in all honesty, I think that Black Widow is a movie that should have came out like, I don't know, 7 years ago. I'm just kind of over Black Widow, Scarlett Johansson. I'm personally... just not that interested in it. She's a cool character, don't get me wrong. I just, spoiler alert, she dead. I mean, do I really care that much? For me, it's gonna be a big no. But apparently, a Blade star, Steven Dorff, is saying Marvel's Black Widow looks like garbage and claims he feels embarrassed for Scarlett Johansson, which I think is absolutely hilarious. I haven't seen the movie. You probably haven't seen the movie. So we can't judge it that much. But when someone who works in the same industry usually comes forward, like another actor comes out and talks shit about an actor, we all kind of, I don't want to say take their word for the fact that the movie's going to be garbage. But we definitely, I I don't know how to say it, like, believe them a little bit more. We're like, okay, well, you know, we're all worried it's gonna be shit, and maybe it is shit because someone else is saying it's bad. And I also kind of wanted to briefly go through the ratings. I don't want to, like, sit here and read all of the reviews that are out so far. Thank you for this $78 donation. I don't understand.
It's been a hot minute since the last
That's true. Very bizarre number, $78. But thank you for the donation, Oren. Much appreciated. And we're also going to be talking about, He-Man. Now listen, guys. I've talked about He-Man a couple of times between live streams and videos. I definitely have. And while I don't want to... okay, how do I say this without being too bitchy? I don't want to completely shit on this because it's not out. But at the same time, I'm going to call a spade. And when I see something that's a lie being called out and being brought up, I'm going to talk about it. And I've talked about the whole situation with Masters of the Universe Revelations a couple of times. I am probably going to be making a video on this whole situation tomorrow, so I'm not going to get, like, super in-depth with it. But we're finding out now that King Grayskull, along with Andra, has been race-swapped in Masters of the Universe Revelations, mainly because they didn't want... listen to this. They didn't want two white characters having prominent roles in the show. It has been lie after lie with this show. Kevin Smith's lies, writers' lies, everyone's freaking lies. We have seen lie after lie with this series. And now, apparently, we're seeing another lie being called out because they said we're not going to drastically change characters. We're only gonna, like, slightly work with characters, with their backstories. Like, we might change something small here and there, but we're not going to drastically change characters. And now, all of a sudden, okay, we're seeing race swaps left and right. We're seeing characters being changed around. I personally do not like gender and race swaps in shows. If you want to have a diverse cast of characters, write a new IP, create a new IP. Maybe you could, I don't know, just like write a new character, but no, instead we just have race swaps after race swaps. So we're going to start off with the TSR topic, I think, and then we'll go into the Switch, then Black Widow, and then also He-Man. But hello everyone, I hope that you are doing good. Welcome to the stream. Hi, guys. Come on, Vera, we come here for you to crap on things? No, not always. I'd say, like, 20% of the time we're about positivity. I like to talk about positive things. It's just unfortunate that so many things aren't positive. Like, the situation with He-Man. I would have loved for a He-Man show to come out and have it be amazing. But, you know, when 50 lies are being caught, and someone like Kevin Smith is just, you know, I mean, all of his lies are being caught in 4K, it's hard not to talk about it. But hi, guys. Listen, okay? The whole He-Man thing genuinely pisses me off, because I wanted Revelations to come out, and I wanted Revelations to be good, and well... we can see now that, well, you know, is Revelations gonna be good? I have a feeling, I'm like 80% certain at this point that Revelations is not going to be good. There might be, like, good moments in it, and I feel like even with bad movies or bad series, usually there's, like, good moments. But the whole picture usually just doesn't come together and doesn't make a lot of sense, or... there's just something standing in the way between us and enjoying what they're trying to sell us. I mean, it is Netflix and Kevin Smith, so those were two red flags right off the bat. But Netflix, sometimes Netflix series do come out and they are actually pretty good. So I don't like to instantly say, oh, it's Netflix, it's going to be terrible. But, well, sometimes, more often than not, it's not on the good side. It's always on the bad side. Is He-Man gay? As far as we know, no. Not yet. I mean, they said that they weren't drastically changing characters, Did we believe them at first? Yeah. I think that we all want to have that hope that they're not going to drastically change characters, but, well, apparently in this series, anything can go. Anything could be real. Things could be, you know, told to us, and then we find out in just a couple of weeks that it was all BS. Always expect the unexpected with, you know, Netflix, Kevin Smith. Writers that apparently say, you know, we need less white men in entertainment. But hi, guys. Boy, oh boy. Not going to like bait and switching is like a backstab? Oh yeah, it definitely is. But, companies don't care if people get mad at them. You know, people will still give things a chance, and they know it. Like, someone who has nostalgia for He-Man, they know that most people that have that nostalgia are still going to try to give it a chance. So they're going to get the view. They're going to get the subscription for the month, and they don't care if you like it or don't, because they know they could keep doing it again and again and again. Which, I mean, it sucks. It really does. But should we expect anything different from companies? It's like developers, I talked about this recently in a video. Developers came out and said that Sony's a shitty company to work with. Can you expect anything different? I mean, they've been that way for a long time. I mean, they're a company at the end of the day. They just want to make money. They don't care if we like them or we like their business strategies. They only care that they're getting money from us. And to an extent, you can't really blame companies for having that mentality, because they are a company and they do need to make money. I'm not faulting them for wanting to make money. I'm just faulting them with the way that they're treating consumers. Look how Woke She-Ra worked out for them. The thing with Woke She-Ra, and I think that that's important to point out, is that She-Ra had very bad reviews, but the people who like She-Ra love She-Ra. Like, they have the new She-Ra has a cult following. Like, you tell those people you don't like She-Ra, they will go at you. It's nuts. Like, that is a cult of people who like that show. I mean, usually I say, if you like something, good for you. But get some help. You guys need something. Like, really? I don't know. It wasn't for me. In this He-Man show, well, I have a feeling it's not going to be for me either. It's so sad. I've talked about this in videos, but, like, the voice acting cast is just, it's there. Okay? The cast, Lena Headey, Mark Hamill, like, holy crap. That could have been so freaking good. And, well, guys, it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. But what do we expect from companies, guys? All right, let's get this started. How's the music volume, by the way, guys? Is it good? Hopefully it is okay. I think that the music volume should be good. I'll start off with the TSR topic in just a minute. Halo Infinite was like the Xbox exclusive version of Last of Us 2? Huh? What do you mean by that? I mean, Halo Infinite isn't even out yet. Are you saying just because they're super popular? YouTube, the numbers with YouTube are so messed up right now. It's hilarious. It's like on one dashboard for me, it says there's like 50 people watching it. Another dashboard says 65. YouTube, come on. I know you don't like me, YouTube. I know that you really don't. But, like, you could work once. A little quiet? Okay, I will turn it up a little bit more. How is that? Is that better? I don't want it to be, like, too loud. Sometimes, though, for some reason, it sounds super quiet. Hopefully, yeah, hopefully that's a little bit better. It's not supposed to be loud. It's just supposed to be slightly there. But, alright, guys, so why don't we get started let's start out with TSR. Now, if you guys haven't seen my previous video on TSR, I would highly recommend going and watching it. The TSR situation is a very unfortunate one. There are 3 different TSRs right now. There was TSR, the original TSR, then a TSR from 2011, and a TSR from 2020. We are talking about the TSR games from 2020 that is now publishing a new game. One of the founders is Ernie Gygax Jr., Gary Gygax's son. But I wanted to do a follow-up to this topic in the stream. Maybe eventually, you know, if more happens in a video, but the TSR situation has been very unfortunate because this company has been attacked for 3 weeks now. There have been so many companies going after them, so many individuals going after them. And they stood pretty firm on their beliefs in what they wanted. You know, they said, we don't want to put politics into our games. We just want to create good games. We want to keep fantasy escapism, which I commend them for saying and for wanting to do if they really did want to do it. Because too many companies now are so worried on politics, narratives, what they can push into games that they're not focused on the content itself. And they're not worried about the stories or the product they're creating. But TSR Games has now fired their Twitter manager, hires new PR officer after multiple organizations cut ties with company over founder Ernie Gygax Jr.'s criticism of modern tabletop culture. All because someone has an opinion. Now there are organizations cutting ties with the company. And this is mainly what I want to talk about. The fact that they fired their Twitter manager and put out a blank PR statement that basically said, we're sorry. We're going to do better in the future. And in my opinion, with all the outrage they've gotten, they've actually done a relatively good job handling a lot of the criticism. There had been a couple of statements that they made and that people affiliated with the company had made that were clipped, taken out of context, shared around social media like wildfire. But TSR is kind of up in the air right now because they're doing things just like this. And if you guys didn't know, if you didn't watch my previous video on it, Gen Con banned them. There was also a few other conventions that banned them. But it says TSR Games has fired its Twitter account manager and hired a new PR officer after comments made by company employees, including the aforementioned manager and founder Ernie Gygax Jr., sparked outrage across social media and resulted in several organizations cutting ties and condemning the newly revived company. It says immediately after Gygax Jr.'s recent June 15th appearance on the Live from the Bunker podcast, which saw the veteran developer criticize both Wizards of the Coast's handling of D&D's brand and the rising trend among tabletop communities towards rejecting players who do not follow modern trends based on critical race and social justice theory, TSR Games' Twitter account was inundated with outrage complaints over the founder's statements. He basically said that he doesn't like how Wizards of the Coast is handling D&D, and he also said that he just doesn't like how in the tabletop community you basically have to be an SJW or you get thrown out of the community. There are a lot of people on social media that play games like D&D and tabletop games that just are very, I guess I'll use the word toxic. They're just pure and simply just full-blown SJWs who basically say, we want our games to be a specific way, and if you're not going to make games that way, we're going to attack you until you give up and until you don't want to be part of this industry and this community anymore. And it's disgusting. And I, over the years, have criticized Wizards of the Coast for their handling of D&D and also other games like Magic the Gathering. Wizards of the Coast is a full-blown SJW company now, and it's so unfortunate because they're so worried about, you know, appealing to all different types of people and being diverse and inclusive and writing stories in specific ways that they're not worried about writing good stories anymore. They're just worried about writing stories that can push a narrative in a specific way, and it does suck. So it says, in the wake of this wave of backlash, the now former and currently unknown TSR Games social media manager responded to a large swath of both fans and critics who were voicing their concerns, though many of those in the latter camp took offense to a number of replies they received in response from the official company account. We don't know who was the social media manager. It could have just been one of the founders. It could have been someone random. We have no clue really who it was. But it says, for example, in the face of numerous criticisms of Gygax Jr.'s opinions, the TSR Games account adamantly held that the interview was Ernie's opinions and not ours. This is I talked about this in my previous video about it, but this is the unfortunate situation, is because they're giving people an inch. They're giving SJWs an inch, and that means they're gonna take 5 miles. They're never gonna be happy no matter how many times you apologize, no matter how many times you say, this person's opinions isn't all of ours, or this person doesn't represent our company. It doesn't matter to these people. If they want to condemn you over something, they will. If they want to try to cancel you over something, they're gonna try, and they're not gonna ever stop. But it says the interview is Ernie's opinions and not ours. Ernie is Ernie. We won't tolerate being targeted by trolls, and we really do our best to keep politics out of it, and we welcome everyone. They made blanket statements like this many times about our opinions, you know, aren't Ernie's, and we're gonna try to do our best to keep politics out of our games. And well, I don't know. This whole situation seems a little suspicious. So, they had shared another tweet, and it said, what we've been experiencing in recent days is very reminiscent of another moment in TSR history. Who recalls the Satanic Panic? Ends up some people, even today, still believe the TTRPG and D&D are in fact evil. I think that was a very funny and clever reference to make, but they made a lot of sense with a lot of their posts. I'm not gonna sit here and say, oh my gosh, I knew they were gonna be SJWs, or I knew that they were gonna go bad. I knew they wouldn't stick to the, you know, the statements they've made previously, but they were doing a lot and making a lot of people happy. They were making statements that, for me, I was like, I mean, yeah, this is a company I want to support, and a lot of people felt that way, but, well, you know, I don't know about that anymore. It says, after being criticized for tweeting the tabletop RPG is the original safe space, a user asserted that the company was misusing a term meant to define a place where people with serious trauma and things like PTSD will be able to avoid having an episode triggered. And, scrolling down, TSR had said, actually, many of our players and team members are vets and or have PTSD. That is exactly what we mean. Thanks, cow. And their profile picture is a cow. But a lot of people still were like, oh my gosh, why would they say that? People acting so freaking soft and sensitive. There was a lot of things that did happen. A lot of people attacking them. It does suck. You know, I understand why companies are so afraid to put opinions on social media, and they're so afraid to, like, make a stance on social media because there are people that are going to try to cancel them no matter what. But it says, as complaints began to mount against TSR Games with an overwhelming amount of outrage directed towards Gygax Jr.'s interview, a number of organizations announced that they would be completely cutting ties with them. I did read this. It says Gen Con. Gen Con is not associated with TSR Games, and we don't support their recent statements. And while the foundation of Gen Con is tied with the history of TTRPGs, our goal is to build off the good knowledge, the bad, and work towards a present free from racism, misogyny, and homophobia. Top secret, the previous TSR Games, so many TSRs, said, we have owned the TSR trademark since 2011, and last year we missed a filing date and another company registered it, though we are still using it in commerce. While we could win a lawsuit, we frankly don't have the money to litigate. Could you win a lawsuit? I mean, if you say so. It says, update to our earlier tweet, we will not be licensing anything from the new company claiming rights to the TSR logos, and we are not working with them in any fashion. And then the Origins Game Fair said that they cut ties with them as well, and TSR isn't a very friendly company, and all of this bullshit. But like many companies before them, TSR Games eventually caved to the demands of the critics pounding on their door, because on July 1st, a newly hired public relations officer introduced himself through the company's public Twitter account, saying, "Hi everyone, I am the new PR officer for TSR Games. The individual that was handling this account is no longer with TSR. Please direct all future TSR communications to me." And he also said in the coming weeks there will be a video featuring Ernie Gygax in which he will address the Live from the Bunker interview, the childhood story he posted on his personal Twitter account. Please stand by. Now, there are some people who think that this is all bullshit. There are some people who think that it's not some new PR officer. They're basically just saying that to try to get people to give them a break for a couple of weeks and kind of get off their case for a couple of weeks, which I understand why people would come up with that theory, like, oh my gosh, maybe it's not really, this guy named Michael that they're saying they just hired. But at the same time, they already, in previous posts, were kind of, I don't want to say completely bending the knee to outrage, but they were definitely, you could tell, they were worried. You could tell that they were, afraid of the backlash that they were getting. They were afraid of being canceled, and I don't blame them for being worried that they're going to be canceled, because all companies, unfortunately, in 2021 do need to be afraid of being canceled. But they did come out of the gate swinging with a very hard stance that, gaming is for escapism and we're going to keep our games that way. I don't know, guys. It's a very iffy situation, because I understand why people think that maybe this is all just BS. This Michael person doesn't really exist and they're just trying to buy themselves more time. But at the same time, they already kind of were making statements that leaned more in the direction of, we're already caving to outrage and we are afraid. So that's all that I really had to discuss with TSR. I hope, genuinely, that they do not bend the knee, that they make the games they want to make. They don't care about outraged people on social media. I hope that they know what they're doing and they take into consideration what they're doing, because if they can't flip-flop. Okay, so they've already made a hard stance that they want to keep gaming escapism. That's great. But now they're firing Twitter managers saying, well, they said stuff that doesn't represent our company. Are they going to say all of the statements that were made don't represent their company? Or are they going to do a complete 180? We have no clue right now, but that's all that I really had to discuss with that topic. Definitely an interesting one. I hope that TSR doesn't completely bend the knee. I really do. I want them to be a good company, but you can only expect so much from companies, and that's the way that the cookie crumbles. If they decide to come out and make any more statements leaning one way or another, I'll definitely talk about it, because I think that right now a lot of people are very on the fence. We'll see, though. I don't know, guys. I don't want another company to cave in and just give in to outrage. But would it surprise me? No, because they're a company at the end of the day, and they're afraid of being canceled and not, selling products. Vera, they've already knelt. I wouldn't say that's a complete they've already knelt, because they could still stand by, and they were very unclear, they could still stand by a lot of the comments that were made. But there were a lot of comments that were made that were screenshotted and kind of taken out of context, that I think is why they got rid of the old manager, if there even was one. But if they come out and start going full, SJW, bending the knee, then I think it would be safe to say, yeah, we saw it coming. I still want to give them a little bit of wiggle room, though. Just a little bit. We'll have to see what they mean by. Ernie Gygax Jr. is gonna come out soon and do a video addressing the interview and his childhood story. We'll see when that happens. I think that that's gonna be the deciding factor right there. But yeah, we'll talk about the Nintendo Switch. Not Pro, sort of next Switch, but not really a Switch 2. A version of a Switch we should have gotten 2 years ago. We'll talk about that in a minute. Nintendo. People did want a new Switch. You weren't wrong. Now, is this the Switch people wanted? No. I mean, I guess they tried. So on the fence with this. So many people are so upset that the new OLED Switch, couldn't we give it at least a cool nickname, isn't better? But there are a lot of people who do like it. And well, I've got some thoughts on it. I don't think it's the worst thing, but I don't think it's the best either. Let me read chat really quickly. Okay, this is a better topic. There's not a lot of information, just a lot of opinion. You might have a different opinion than mine, chat. But, well, they did it. They announced it. A new Switch. Not a Switch 2, not a Switch Pro. Not the Super, what was it? The Super Nintendo Switch? It's not that. It's, I wouldn't call it Super. I wouldn't call it the Super Switch. I'd call it the slightly better, not as amazing Switch that we expected. No. So as far as we've seen, as far as we've heard, they are not, like, fully replacing the existing Switch with this new Switch. Because they are different. So that's the thing, is, like, they're slightly different. It's $350. If you don't have a Switch, this is the Switch you'd buy. But if you have a Switch, well, I guess everyone's gonna have a different opinion on it. Alright, guys, so let's start on the Switch discussion now. At E3, everyone was really, really depressed and disappointed that we didn't see a new Switch announced. There had been rumors for months leading up to E3 that at E3 we were gonna get the Switch Pro announcement, the Nintendo Switch Pro, the Super Nintendo Switch, the Super Switch Pro, Mega Ultra, Alpha Omega. And well, E3 came and went. We didn't have any sort of Nintendo Switch announcements. And now, well, hardware. We had game announcements. But now, out of the blue, weeks later, when no one is expecting it, Nintendo decided to put out a tweet thread announcing that there is a new OLED Nintendo Switch. And I wanted to read this article because it talks about everything that it can do, but it also makes a lot of good points as to what the new Switch can't do. Now, for me personally, I really do enjoy my Nintendo Switch. I've been a fan of the Nintendo Switch for a very long time now. But as someone who likes my Nintendo Switch, I was looking forward to a Switch Pro. Would I call this a Switch Pro? A lot of people say yes and a lot of people say no. I'm a little on the fence with calling it a Switch Pro. I wouldn't really call it a Switch Pro. It's kind of hard because it's like, it does have some good needed upgrades, definitely. But it's not everything we wanted and more. So it says the new OLED Nintendo Switch, everything it can and can't do. So it says, the upgraded Switch arrives on October 8th, what it adds, what it lacks, and whether it's worth $350. It's always hard to say if a console is worth it or not. Because if you have a Nintendo Switch already, your perspective is going to be very different than if you don't have a Nintendo Switch. If you don't have a Nintendo Switch, then yeah, and you want to buy one, it's going to be worth it. It's going to be worth spending the $50 extra. But if you already have a Switch, well, there we get into the deep questions, like should you or should you really not? So it says a new version of the Nintendo Switch was expected this year, but we didn't know exactly when or what would be different about it. But now we know a version with a larger OLED display is coming October 8th, right alongside the company's biggest holiday game, Metroid Dread. I actually had said months ago when I talked about the Switch Pro rumors that I thought they were going to release a Switch Pro alongside Breath of the Wild 2. I thought that is what they were going to go with. So I wasn't wrong. Technically, they did want to release a Switch alongside a big game. I just technically guessed the wrong model and the wrong game. But my head was in the right place. My heart was in the right place. And for that, I'm going to give myself a +1. It says the suddenly announced new Switch feels like an afterthought. No new fancy name like a Super Nintendo Switch. And if you were expecting a brand new Switch 2 with all of your wishes fulfilled, this isn't that. What this does is like an incrementally upgraded dockable Switch with a few extras that could very well be worth the extra $50 if you don't already own one. Now, pre-orders have not gone up for this. We don't know when pre-orders are going to go up for this. I haven't seen any. I haven't heard anything about it. But we do know that it is releasing on October 8th, and it is $350. And for me personally, when it comes to consoles, I don't see this as being overpriced. Okay, I use my Nintendo Switch extremely often. I really do love my Nintendo Switch. So seeing a $350 Switch model for me doesn't sound outrageous or ridiculous. There are a lot of people already who do think that it's actually priced ridiculously. I don't. But it says, what is new? So the 7-inch OLED display. This new Switch is all about the slightly larger OLED display, and the 7-inch upgrade should at least make it easier to see small text compared to the 6-inch Switch that's available now. The new Switch to OLED, what a pun, should mean a more vibrant display with better black levels, but we haven't seen the display in action yet to compare them. It is still a 720p resolution screen though. That is biggest news, all in that paragraph. So yeah, the screen is an inch larger, which is good. I mean, I am more than happy to see a bigger screen.
Rod_H donated $5.
Thank you for the $5 donation.
Here, have +5 on me.
Thank you, thank you. But that's also the most disappointing part about all this, guys. This right here. It's still a 720p resolution screen, though. That was the largest rumor with the Switch Pro, is that it was going to have 4K. It was going to be like this new powerhouse. This Switch, it was going to be the Switch of the Switches. We were all expecting so much. And, well, we're getting an inch larger screen, which is good. Very happy about them inches. When it comes to game consoles, size matters, guys. It says better kickstand. Listen, okay? A kickstand, okay? I could get a case for my Nintendo Switch, and it would still probably be better than the garbage kickstand that's going to be on the back of this. There are people freaking out about the kickstand. I have seen Nintendo fanboys going, oh my god, a fucking better kickstand. Hell yes. And I'm just sitting here like, I'm not going to get excited over a kickstand. For me, that's not something that I'm sitting here praising Nintendo for. A lot of people aren't happy with the OLED display and it being 720p, because a lot of people are expecting more. As you know, someone in chat is pointing out, the Vita was a 540p OLED. There are people who are saying it's not enough, Nintendo. But on the other hand, there are a lot of people saying, well, some upgrade is better than no upgrade, which I kind of understand, because the OLED is cool. 720p, not so cool. I personally would have loved to see a Switch with 4K docked, of course. But it says better speakers. Nintendo promises improved audio on the Switch speakers, but again, we haven't tried them out to compare. They came out of this, they came out with these announcements randomly today. They didn't apparently reach out to any outlets, which isn't that surprising with all the rumors that have been going around, and I do want to talk about those in a few. But they seemingly, okay, had just this random trailer. I don't know, to me the trailer felt kind of random. A lot of people also feel that way. The trailer, yeah, highlights the fact that, oh, it's a 7-inch display and there's better speakers, but that's it. It's a very short trailer, and their website doesn't give a lot of details either. I mean, again, should we expect more? I don't know. It does say, though, bumped up internal storage, which is good. It doesn't matter, though, if you're buying micro SD cards. It says there's 64 gigs of included storage now versus the 32 on the original Switch. And this doesn't matter a ton, just buy a micro SD card and add hundreds of gigs. And, yeah, I mean, I kind of agree with that. I think that it's good that they're doubling it, though. I'm not going to sit here and complain that they're doubling it. It's good. Ultimately, I mean, the more, the better, kind of. I mean, just go out and buy a micro SD card. But it says the dock has an Ethernet. It has Ethernet support. This is the why of this Switch is the talk of the town right now. Because they are highlighting the fact that it adds wired Ethernet, something the original Switch dock lacked. And I agree. I was really disappointed that it lacked that. And I know you can buy like a $5 to $10 adapter for your Switch to add it, just like with the Wii. Okay, I know you could do that. But it'd be nice to just have it on the dock, not have to beg for it, Nintendo. But they removed other slots for it, and this article does talk about that. And it is slightly heavier. The console is slightly heavier. It says a tiny change in the physical dimensions mean the OLED Switch won't fit into some of those old Labo cardboard constructions, according to Nintendo. And it says the weight increase to 0.93 from the original Switch's 0.88 could make it harder to hold for a while. I doubt that it's gonna be some like giant issue that people are gonna be really upset with. But it says what's not new. Now, I said this the last time I talked about the Switch. I think that it's too late to release a Switch Pro. And I thought then that they should have just went for a Switch 2. And I mean, I still stand by that. There are people still saying, when is the Switch Pro announcement? I don't think that they should go with a Switch Pro. I think that if they're going to do anything, they're just kind of wait for the Switch 2. I mean, with the few upgrades that this has, we probably should have gotten this, in all honesty, like 2 years ago. It's not a new chipset, no 4K, no upgraded battery life. It's got a better screen, which is good, and better audio, plus the LAN port, which is great. But is it enough? For me, I don't think that it's bad. I don't think that it's awful. But I know a lot of people are just like, it's just not good enough. Like, you guys are highlighting ports. I think they're useful ports. But it says, no 4K gaming. Rumors pointed to a 4K output switch that could show better graphics on a TV when docked, and that didn't happen. Expect the same 1080p gaming on the OLED Switch when docked, and the 720p in handheld mode, which is confirmed, we do know that. And it says Nintendo hasn't specified what type of chip is in the OLED Switch. Is it improved at all over the original Switch? And it says same old Joy-Cons. I have to say, that this is probably one of the largest issues for a lot of people, which I completely understand. Because the Switch's Joy-Cons are, how do I say this? Fucking terrible for most people. I actually, personally, have not had any problems with my Joy-Cons. I actually, guys, usually tech is the, if it's gonna break, it's gonna break for me first. But I haven't had any problems with mine. But it says, of course, the Joy-Con controllers have aged badly and many are prone to drift problems, and they don't have analog triggers, and I find their Bluetooth gameplay a bit laggy at times. And it says no Bluetooth audio, and also the battery life, because it should be the same as the 2019 dockable Switch. And Nintendo says the OLED Switch should have 4.5 to 9 hours of battery life versus the Switch Lite's 3 to 7 hours. Again, a little bit of a disappointment. I would have liked a better battery life. I would have liked all of this, to be honest. Better Joy-Cons, better battery, 4K gaming. I would have loved to see all of this. For me, I'm not completely disappointed with this new Switch. What I am disappointed in, though, are all of the rumors that have been going on for months and months. This is a great example of why I don't believe rumors coming from websites like Bloomberg and from journalists like Jason Schreier, because they're all bullshit. Yeah, they might have someone telling them that they, you know, Nintendo has plans for something like a Switch Pro or an upgraded Switch, but only half of their rumor was true. They've said for months and months now that it would have a better screen and better audio, yes, but it also doesn't have 4K or a better battery. It doesn't have a lot of the things that the rumors said that it was gonna have. I personally use my Switch quite a bit, and I would probably get this OLED Switch. I do have plans, I think I'm gonna try to pick it up. Now, scalpers, please chill. Please. Don't buy all of them in 5 seconds. But I plan maybe to get this Switch that matches my PlayStation 5. The black and white kind of looks snazzy. I'm not opposed to it. I don't think it looks awful. But I'm curious for you guys in chat. With this OLED Switch, I wish it had a slightly better name, but beggars can't be choosers, I guess. Do you guys plan to purchase this Switch, or do you plan to pass on it? I'm curious. Yeah, I mean, I personally have always kind of called bullshit on quote-unquote journalists like Jason Schreier and organizations like Bloomberg, but for months now, they've been saying how there was this Switch Pro that was going to come out and it was going to be crazy, crazy, crazy. And now that they've announced this OLED Switch, those people are fucking silent. Those people have nothing to say now because they know they're in deep shit. They realize, oh no, people are going to look at us, so they're going to stay quiet for a couple weeks. I'm sure they're not going to talk about the Switch too much. I'm sure they're going to stay pretty silent on it, besides maybe their one review that they'll put on out about it. But at this point, I'm sure that they're just hoping that people are going to forget about all the rumors that they were circulating for months upon months. Pre-ordering as many as I can? Oh no. We have a confirmed scalper in chat. I can give you a good price on one once I have them all. Thank you. I appreciate it. Don't scalp, guys. But also send me an email to my business email. Okay. Okay, no scalper jokes. Scalpers, I've told you guys. Scalpers, well, I have nothing nice to say about them. It has been hell getting new consoles and tech and literally fucking everything. It has been hell. It has been a nightmare disaster. I don't think the new Switch is bad. If you already have a Switch, I definitely think that you'd really have to debate and consider if you wanted to if you wanted to pick up a new model. For me, I do own a Switch already. I probably will pick this one up. As long as scalpers don't get them all, because I'm not going to support scalpers. If I can snipe one off of a website, then I'll buy it. I'm not going to support scalpers, though. But I'll probably buy one. I use my Switch quite a bit, and I really like it. I don't think it's awful. I don't think it's as amazing as a Switch Pro or the Switch Pro we've heard about for months upon months, but I don't think it's bad. I think the timing is really what confused me. I think the timing is really, really bizarre. It's like boom, out of nowhere. You guys could have announced this at E3. I guess maybe they didn't want to deal with announcing it at E3 and then having, you know, organizations still like, oh my gosh, we called it. To me, it's kind of like Nintendo gave them a bit of a middle finger, which I think is funny. I always wait 2 years before buying a console. I understand that. A lot of people do wait. I usually don't wait. Oh no, I accidentally closed my YouTube dashboard. Hold on, guys, I can't see chat. I usually don't wait. I get them as soon as they release, most of the time. Oh no, I have to reopen up. Okay, it's almost open. Hold on, chat. Okay. Chat is back open. Guys, you exist again. How are you guys doing? Scalpers no scalping. Yeah, well, hopefully no one, you know, here scalps the Switch. No scalpers. This year's E3 sucked. Worst E3? I don't think it was the worst E3. I think a lot of E3 this year was disappointing. I don't think it was terrible, though. Buy two, sell them for $1,500 each. Yeah, unfortunately. That's what they do. I wonder how much the Switch will be after everyone's bought them and you can't get your hands on them for a very long time. I don't know, maybe the scalpers will leave this one alone. I was kind of thinking the same thing too, because it's not like it's it is new, but it's not like it's a Switch Pro or a Switch 2. It's not like the new generation of the Switch. It is just an upgrade. So I was kind of thinking the same thing, but unfortunately, even normal Switches, base Switches, were very hard to find for a while, so I kind of have a feeling they might be scalped. At this point, literally everything is being scalped, so it wouldn't surprise me if it happened. It's a way that it is. I will hold off until I hear what Auntie Anita has to say. Well, yeah. I mean, she gives great gaming advice. If you guys didn't hear, Anita Sarkeesian, she has great advice for my fellow gamers. So, go ahead and follow her blog. I'm sure she can tell you. Oh, guys, we gotta stop joking about her. What is dead may never die. Alright, everyone. So let's move into the next topic of the night, which is going to be Black Widow. I've talked about Black Widow a couple of times. I've talked about it in a few videos. Talked about it like once or twice in live streams. I personally think that the Black Widow film should have came out like 7 years ago. I don't really care that much about seeing a film about her at this point. And we know that this movie is gonna have a lot, and I mean a lot, of references to women power, the Me Too movement. Scarlett Johansson has confirmed this. The other actress that's in this, what's her name? Florence, whatever her name is. Florence who? She confirmed that it was gonna have a lot of woman power, Me Too references. And for me, that's just a no-go. I'm not watching a movie to hear all about that. But The Blade Star
donated $10.
Thank you for the $10 donation. Blade Star Steven Dorff says Marvel's Black Widow looks like garbage and claims he feels embarrassed for Scarlett Johansson. I don't know why you would feel bad for Scarlett Johansson just because it looks like such trash. I mean, I don't know. I think it's fucking hilarious. Maybe just because he's, you know, fellow actor. You know, oh no, this actress who works for the same company as me, she's gonna be raked across the coals because her film looks fucking terrible. That's funny. That he's literally coming out saying that he feels embarrassed for Scarlett Johansson, but it says, according to the man himself, Blade star Steven Dorff is not impressed with what he's seen of Disney's Black Widow, as the actor recently asserted that the upcoming entry into the MCU looks like garbage. So much so that its production made him feel embarrassed for the film's star Scarlett Johansson. I had this worry that with this movie, it was just gonna be like one of those mediocre, done a million times spy movies. And I don't want it to be bad. I say this with every film. I don't want a movie to come out and it be shit. I don't want movies to come out and have them be bad, because ultimately, I'd rather people be able to enjoy things, like movies, video games, comic books, novels, whatever the case may be. I don't want things to come out and be bad. But when your marketing is literally talking about how being a woman in Hollywood is so difficult, even though you're the highest paid actress in Hollywood 3 years in a row, for me, that marketing's not really gonna work. So, scrolling down, it says, Dorff, who can also consider himself a Marvel actor thanks to his portrayal of the villain in the 1998 film adaptation of Blade, expressed his opinion on Black Widow while speaking to his personal career philosophy during a recent interview with the UK news outlet The Independent. The Independent. Telling staff reporter Adam White, I still hunt. So bad. I still hunt out the good shit because I don't want to be in Black Widow. Good for you. You don't have to be in Black Widow. It's bad. It looks like garbage to me, he said. It looks like a bad video game, and I'm embarrassed for those people. It's a lot of people now, guys, okay? I'm not saying he is, but a lot of people think that he's just coming out making these statements because he's trying to get a rise out of people, because he wants to reignite his career. It's like he wants more attention. You know, he wants companies to recognize him again. I'm not gonna sit here and say that. I mean, he can say whatever the hell he wants. I think this is fucking hilarious, though. It looks like a bad video game. Please don't insult bad video games like that, okay? Wow, guys. Maybe the next game after Marvel's Avengers and Guardians of the Galaxy will be Black Widow. I mean, it sounds like it would fit right in, right? He also expressed specific embarrassment on behalf of Scarlett Johansson, who portrays the film's Russian super spy, exclaiming, I'm embarrassed for Scarlett. I'm sure she got paid $7 million, but I'm embarrassed for her. She isn't even embarrassed for herself, okay? She is the highest paid actress in Hollywood. She was in like 2019, 2020. She probably is gonna be in 2021 as well. Scarlett Johansson is one of the highest paid actresses there is. She probably doesn't give a singular fuck if this movie is bad as long as she's getting a paycheck. And that's the sad part about it, is that people like her, I mean, ultimately, they just want to make money. They just, it's like companies. They don't care if you like their movie or not. They just want to make money. But it's like, I do think that Scarlett Johansson's a pretty good actress. I don't think that she's amazing. I don't think that she's perfect, but I think that she's okay. I think that she has definitely been in a lot of things that I've liked, and she's also been in films I don't like. But it says, I don't want to be in those movies. I really don't. I'll find that kid director that's going to be the next Kubrick, and I'll act for him instead. That statement has gotten him into a little bit of shit, because there are a lot of people saying he says he's waiting for the next Kubrick, but he hasn't been in any, you know, movies or anything really in the past, like, 10 years. Okay, I mean, okay. Well, you know, at least he's got a vision. At least he's waiting for a good time. Maybe when that new director pops up, he could play the old grumpy man sitting in a chair in a corner. Okay, I won't be too much of an ass. The actor also took a swing at the Oscars and Hollywood in general. I like this guy. He's got a lot of fucking spunk. Let me just say that. This year's Oscars were the most embarrassing thing I've ever seen, and my business is becoming a big game show. This guy's kind of fucking based. I mean, holy shit. He's coming out. I'm embarrassed for Scarlett Johansson. This movie looks like shit. The Oscars are the most embarrassing thing I've ever seen. This guy's kind of got it going on. I mean, okay. Whatever you're next, I mean, at least buy me a ticket. It says, my business is becoming a big game show. You have actors that don't have a clue what they're doing. You have filmmakers that don't have a clue what they're doing. We're all in these little boxes on these streamers, TV, film. It's all one big clusterfuck of content now. I mean, a lot of actors feel that way. I'm not gonna like discredit his opinion. A lot of actors don't like the future of streaming and also just kind of the future of TV in general, but it also says Black Widow drops in theaters and on Disney Plus this Friday, July 9th. I am not that excited for Black Widow. And when it comes to Rotten Tomatoes, I usually take ratings with a grain of salt for reviewers. The reviewer scores are pretty good right now. I thought that we could quickly skim through them. It's sitting at an 83% right now with 184 reviews. I just think when the audience score finally unlocks and people are reviewing it, I think we're going to see a lot of people saying it's a generic spy movie, which is the worst thing that could happen. Because when you're thinking of the MCU, for me, what I want and expect out of the MCU is outside of the box, okay? When I see an MCU movie, I want something trippy, a new idea, unique, and nothing has to be perfect, okay? Like, look at WandaVision, okay? WandaVision was very different at the beginning. Like, half of the show was a very different vibe, and eventually by the end of it, they kind of brought in that classic Marvel formula, good guy, bad guy. But they went somewhere different with it, and my biggest problem is the fact that they didn't bring Doctor Strange in. I 100% think that they should have brought Doctor Strange in, and it would have made the show actually good and meaningful. But they went in a very unique direction and approach at first, and I commend them for trying that. I think that for a lot of people, they wouldn't have gotten the references, and I did talk about this. I thought that, well, a lot of the references I got, I could see a lot of people not understanding them, but I didn't think the show was awful. I think that the ending was the most unfortunate part of it, just because you've only got a couple of episodes. They're not that long, 20 to 30 minutes, except for like the last two. Anyway, not to go on about WandaVision, but it had that classic Marvel formula, but it had a lot of unique elements. But Black Widow, it sounds like it really just doesn't have a lot of uniqueness to it. I mean, if I wanted to go watch a spy movie, there's about 50,000 others that I could watch. And not about a dead character. So, there, you know, unfortunately, are a lot of positive reviews. And I say unfortunately because I have this feeling that the ratings are going to be completely different. That the critic reviews are going to be super high. They're like 85% right now. And I think that the audience score is going to come out and the audience review is going to be like a 50. I just think that there's going to be a major discrepancy there. But somebody said Black Widow has the look and feel of a globe-trotting spy thriller and isn't afraid to puncture some of the Avengers mythology, including grappling with what it means to be a hero. Yes. I love when people say that the movie isn't afraid to puncture some of the Avengers mythology. Whatever could that mean? Somebody gave it a rotten and said, sadly quickly degenerates into a maddening mess of unnecessary scenes, mildly well-choreographed action, and a comic book movie that is actually completely out of place here. People saying, though Black Widow may not be as action-packed as the usual MCU movies, the fight scenes were given are clean, quick, and well-choreographed. Why would you make a spy movie, okay, and not have it be filled with action? If I'm gonna have to sit through 2 hours of a movie with a character where the character doesn't matter anymore, why would I want to sit through either, like, boring, slow, drama-filled sequences? Like, I would want to see tons of action and fighting. Maybe it's just me. Somebody said Marvel's latest origin story owes as much to Bourne and Bond as it does to the MCU and ultimately reveals Natasha Romanoff's soulful humanity. Oh no. Did you guys see who rated that? Karen. Hey, Karen! What the fuck, Karen? You're saying that a film about a woman is comparable to a film about a man? Oh, Karen, we thought you were one of us. This asshat. Oh, this is disgusting. How could Karen do this? She just dropped 2 names. Oh, of men? No. You were the chosen one, Karen. Okay? Never compare a woman to a man, because women are superior. Okay. I can only do that so much. I'm gonna be honest. I just lost like 3 brain cells. People saying that, you know, it's an origin story. It's not bad. 3 out of 4. 8 out of 10. 4 out of 5. 6 out of 10, especially as it relates to its genre-specific weaknesses. Black Widow is all too familiar. That's unfortunate, because even though I wasn't excited for this film, that doesn't mean it had to be complete trash. Even though I wasn't excited for it, it could still come out and be amazing. That would have been a great surprise. But a lot of these reviews are saying they had a formula they went with, the typical Marvel formula with, you know, a spy drama. And it just came together and is too familiar. Black Widow is not a bad film. Nevertheless, it feels like a wasted opportunity. Wow. Harper's Bazaar not happy. Somebody said, a lethargic, clunky, and overlong bore that's low on thrill, suspense, and excitement. Why the fuck would I want to see a film about spies and it be just low on thrill, suspense, and excitement? That sounds terrible. This guy's rating, 3.619125458 out of 10. Well, he really put a lot of thought into his original score. I'm gonna leave Black Widow at that, everyone. It sounds like it's very generic, mediocre. Maybe it'll be great. I don't think so at this point. I don't think so. It does release in just a couple of days. It does release on Friday. Guys, I don't know. I don't know how hopeful I can be about this film. I'll give it a watch eventually. I'm very curious, though, to see user scores. I think the user scores, I think they're going to be much different than the critic scores, though. 100%. We see it happen often, and I think we're going to see it happen again. But, everyone, we're going to move on to the final topic in just a minute. We're going to be talking about Masters of the Universe Revelation. I've talked about Masters of the Universe Revelation a couple of times already, and I do plan to do a video on this tomorrow, so I'm just going to kind of skim this article. I'm not going to go super in-depth with it, but I did want to read some of it. The situation with Masters of the Universe is a very unfortunate one because there had been a lot of red flags, lies, changes, things that didn't sit right with a lot of people leading up to the launch of Revelations. And I'm going gonna sit here and I'm gonna be honest. I wanted the show to release and have it be good. I like Masters of the Universe. I like He-Man. I like these characters. I thought that it could have released and had it be really good. But, well, unfortunately, it is coming from Kevin Smith and Netflix and a bunch of writers who just wanted to make it as woke as possible. So it doesn't sound like it's going to release, and it doesn't sound like it's going to be good. And I've given my thoughts on the 2 trailers that have came out previously, some of Kevin Smith's statements, him basically attacking fans who are saying, you know, you've been caught in lies. And now, there's this little situation. Netflix director claims King Grayskull and Andra Raceswaps in Masters of the Universe Revelations were because new characters could be easily rejected. That's right, guys. Instead of writing new, unique, soulful characters, they just decided to race swap characters because they gave up easily. Oh, guys, listen, new characters, those could be easily rejected. It'd be so much easier to twist around existing characters. And the reason why they said that they race swapped King Grayskull is because they didn't want 2 white men to have prominent roles in the show. White men these days, guys. So toxic. It's always the white men. We have a show about a white guy, but no. We can't have 2 white guys in the show. That is just not okay. That is just not allowed. They promised that there were not going to be any drastic character changes in this show. Well, the lie detector has determined that that's a lie. I'm personally not a huge fan of race swaps, gender swaps. I would rather people create new characters. Go create a new IP. But please, don't ruin existing characters because you want to push a narrative with them. That's the part that sucks the most. Is that they're just taking great characters and twisting them around because they're too lazy to write new characters. So it says, in response to a fan who complained about the race swapping of characters in Kevin Smith's upcoming Netflix-produced Revelation series, which has thus far seen both Andra and King Grayskull changed in such a way from their original forms, Netflix director of the original series has revealed that the production team made the decision to alter the 2 characters out of a fear that new characters could be easily rejected. So instead of putting effort into making sure a character's story is good, they just said, nah, just change their skin color, it'll be fine. No one could reject existing characters, which is complete and utter bullshit. If you switch around a character, their origin story, parts about them, whatever it may be, people can still dislike it. If I hate the new Teela, that doesn't mean I hate the old Teela. If I hate new Skeletor, that doesn't mean I hate old Skeletor. You can still reject new versions of characters. To me, the problem isn't the fact that... Yeah, okay, so let me rephrase that because I don't like race swaps and gender swaps, but the biggest problem to me with this situation is that it's lie after lie after lie. This is another lie that's being called out. Kevin Smith said we're not going to drastically change any characters. We're going to stay true to their original, the original characters and the original lore for them. And now they're doing stuff like this. So, by the way, I just want to say really quickly, I actually think that this looks really cool. I think that this cover actually looks pretty good. It's Volume 1 by Dark Horse. I don't think it looks bad. I'm not a hater of it. I think it looks decent. But it says on July 3rd, just days before its slated July 7th release, Bleeding Cool founder Rich Johnston posted a report on a particular panel from the premiere issue of Dark Horse's Masters of the Universe Revelation prequel comic book series which recently leaked online. I think it's hilarious when stuff gets leaked online. I feel bad for companies partially, but at the same time, it's also kind of funny because then we get to just see their lies sooner when they're not expecting us to. So it says, in the leaked panel, it was revealed that in this continuity, King Grayskull, the historic ruler of Eternia, whose power fuels Prince Adam's transformation into He-Man, is now a black man. All because they didn't want to have two white guys running the show. It says this version of King Grayskull can be seen in the series Masters of the Universe Revelation Part 1 trailer. No one had really caught on to this. I didn't really see it. It's a very short part of the scene that's in the trailer. Of course, the bait and switch trailers that make you think the show's about one thing when it's about a completely other thing. That was in the Part 1 trailer. It says, shortly after this news broke, it was shared to the shared wall of the private Facebook, He-Man and She-Ra fan group, whereupon it was met with disappointment by a black member of the group who stated, I prefer making new unique black characters than race swapping originally white characters. I think a lot of people do generally agree with this. You guys can let me know in chat. I'd much rather see them just create new unique characters than take existing ones and twist them to be whatever they want them to be. Oh, today we want to promote, you know, this type of character. So we're going to race swap all these characters. Oh, you know, the next day we want to promote this type of relationship. So we're just going to change the backstory for a couple characters to promote that. That, to me, is the biggest problem. Not the fact that there's black characters. Go for it. Just create new characters, okay? If you can create a new character and the story for them is good, it makes sense, they're not just like randomly thrown in there, then no one's gonna have a problem with it. Well, there still might be some people that have a problem with it, but most people aren't gonna have a problem with it. And this fan's complaint was soon met with a response from Biaselli, who went on to detail the production team's reasoning behind the decision to race swap not only King Grayskull, but as previously revealed, Lieutenant Andra. So it says, at Tim, I hear you, and that will indeed be part of our story too, but a big hurdle when you're introducing a new character to a line of so many well-established characters is that they are bound to be outsiders and harder to accept as canon, at least for a while. I think that that's bullshit. That's a bullshit excuse to not create new characters. Oh, they might be harder to accept as canon. What bafflingly stupid statements from him. It says, we asked ourselves early on about the need for two giant white blonde dudes in the pantheon of MOTU. Wow, guys. They asked ourselves very early on about the need for two giant white blonde dudes. They're ahead of the curve with diversity. They are so focused on diversity and inclusivity. Wow, guys. They're such a great group of people. It says, and honestly, it makes both characters less special. I wish I could take credit for being the one with the idea to make Grayskull black, because now in the history of all the champions of Grayskull, a black man has a role of prominence. Why don't you just create another character that was a black character that had a role of prominence? Go for it. But instead, they just decide to switch characters because they can't write anything new or good. It says, on the specific race swapping of King Grayskull, he explained, we asked ourselves early on about the need for giant white blonde dudes, like I read, and they're using the excuse that, of course, you know, now he's more special. So stupid. He also said same thing with Andress. She was initially created as a new character, and it was my idea to dig into the lore and raise up a character who had a small appearance but a strong following. People have been wanting to see Teela and Andra fight side by side for a while, as opposed to creating a new character that could be easily rejected, and honestly, do we really need two badass redheads? MOTU has no women of color, and we saw an opportunity and took it. Oh no! Do we really need two redheads? We could just take her and twist her around, change her design, who she is in her core, and that'd be fine. Because do we really, really need 2 redheads? This guy's a fucking dippo shitto. The Netflix director for this fucking movie. Holy shit. We're so lazy. We don't want to write new characters, so we're just going to take ones and swap them around a little bit. Because we don't need 2 redheads. We only need 1. He said, why not give little black girls a hero that looks like them? That is fine. Just create new characters. Say it with me, everyone. Create new fucking characters. Gingers are being erased from Hollywood, from entertainment. Here's another one that's being erased. And it just goes on to explain the release of the prequel series is currently set to release on July 7th, while Kevin Smith's animated series will debut on July 23rd. I will be talking about this in a video tomorrow. I'm really disappointed with all of this. It has been lie after lie with Revelations, and I want Revelations to come out and I want it to be good, but unfortunately, I just think that Revelations is going to come out and it's going to be really bad. I don't think that Revelations is going to release and it's going to be some revolutionary, amazing story. I think that we've caught Kevin Smith in a lot of lies. These directors clearly were focused on diversity and inclusivity instead of good storytelling. And overall, I'm impressed with the voice actors, but I'm not really impressed with anything else surrounding this show. So that's all that I really had to discuss in tonight's stream, you guys. I am going to be hanging around for a little bit longer. So if you all have any questions or topics you'd like me to discuss, feel free to put them into the chat now. If you guys want to give your opinions on the topics, also, I'd be happy to read them. Sounds like they don't need money. I don't understand why they do these things. Genuinely, they're trying to change characters around to appeal to people who aren't going to watch these shows. Those people don't want to watch He-Man. There might be a couple, but not all of them. You know, it's people with nostalgia that are going to watch this series. And yeah, I'm sure they're going to bring in plenty of newcomers, new blood to the franchise. But I don't think that I don't think that they're expecting the backlash that they've already been getting and that they're going to get. They've been getting a lot of backlash with all these choices. And I think that once the show releases and we've seen how bad it truly is, I think that they're going to receive a lot more backlash. At some point it gets racist. Now, well, on social media, apparently you can't be racist against white people. Nope. Create new fucking characters? Hell yes. It's just so disappointing to see this happen over and over and over. Just create new characters. Why don't you make a 3rd woman to go along with Tila and Andra? Why don't you make a black woman to go along with them? We could have a fucking trio over here. The more women, the better. Isn't that the mentality? The more strong, independent woman, the better? Apparently not in this case. So stupid. So absolutely stupid. I want writers, directors, producers, actors to just stay true to the characters that they're working with. That's all that I want. I just want you to stay true to the lore, to the characters, to the story, to what exists. But, well, they don't care. They don't care as long as they get a view and they make money. Which is unfortunate. But a lot of companies act that way. There was a lot of hope behind the series. I know a lot of people were really excited for it. I was really excited for it. I mean, that's why I've talked about it multiple times in videos and in live streams, because I wanted it to release and it to be good. But, well, if you're a fan of He-Man, this isn't the show that you're looking for. What's the next game you're going to stream? I'm not sure what I'm going to be streaming next. I have no clue yet, but I will let you guys know soon in Discord. I have to figure it out. It's just the laziness of people. Yeah, I guess that's true, Daniel. Just... I don't like these lazy writers and these producers and directors. Just stop fucking things up. Is it... I don't know. I'd say is it that hard, but apparently it is too hard to not fuck things up. Because they just do what they want. And they don't care if they're screwing shit up. They don't care what they're ruining. They only care about dollar bills. Disney needs to make a movie starring Jessica Rabbit to give representation to gorgeous redhead lounge singers. Well, I don't think they're going to do that in the next, I don't know, 500 years. But maybe one day in 600. It's too bad, guys. There's so many good redheads that they could put into movies, but nope. Why do we need 2 redhead characters? We only need 1. I mean, in the one redhead that they kept, half of her hair's gone. But apparently to them, it doesn't matter. Ugh. You know. Why do we need 2? When we could just have 1 and race swap the other. Change her around a little bit to do whatever the hell we want. To promote whatever the hell we want. It is what it is. This show is going to be a disaster. And, well... I don't want it to be. But, for me at least, maybe not for you guys, I have very little hope in this series now. I see the true colors of it. I see the direction that they're going in. I see the decisions that they're making and the lies that they're telling. But, what do you expect? Let me check chat. Part of it is definitely laziness, but also a huge part is the woke agenda. Very true, Chris. I'd say it's probably a 50-50 because they're definitely too lazy to create new characters. They don't have any creative bones in their fucking bodies. But they also want to push a woke agenda, and why not just change characters around? Wait, those aren't men? No. That is Andra and Tila. Characters that previously were extremely attractive characters. Well, I mean, Andra... Everyone's got their own opinion on. Tila, though. Tila was an attractive character. And now she's, well, Abby Smash. Tila is now, well, not as attractive. I mean, to each their own. Maybe you guys like her muscles and the shaved head and the, yeah, that's gonna be a no from me. It's gonna be a no. Redheads are too white for Hollywood's SJW media. Yeah, they're erasing redheads. And the thing is at first, when they started erasing redheads, a lot of people didn't see it. They were like, it's just like one character being swapped or 2 characters being swapped. There are lists and lists and lists of redheads that they've erased. Vera, have you ever played Code Vein? Yes, I live streamed it here on the channel when it came out. If you guys haven't already joined Vera's Discord, yes, join the Discord. It is in the description. Much appreciated. Hey Vera, do you like playing space combat sim games? I do like them. I usually don't stream them, but I don't hate them, that's for sure. I do enjoy them. I'm assuming that you like them too. Mr. Waifu Taker. I wanted to donate, but Streamlabs was acting up on me. Recently started watching you, and I joined the Discord. Well, thank you for joining the Discord and supporting. Much appreciated. Sometimes Discord can be, sometimes Streamlabs can be a little wonky. There is a PayPal link in the description if you want to donate directly that way. And I also have a Patreon, so you can join me over on Patreon and become a Dark Titan for just $1 a month. All of those links are in the description. Redheads only make up 1 to 2% of the human population. We are a super minority and they are erasing us. Very true. That's true. That's not very inclusive of them. You know, that's not very it's not very nice of them. We should cancel these companies that are doing that. What assholes. Can't believe they're doing that. Erasing super minorities like that. So not inclusive. At least we got a good Castlevania from Netflix, but He-Man is scrapped. I think, you know, I personally did not dislike the Castlevania series. I thought that it was pretty good. There were like a few various parts that I was like, I don't know. But I didn't think overall it was bad. I still haven't watched the newest season, which... yeah, I gotta get the hell on that. So, my opinion isn't based on the last season as well, but He-Man is another story. I mean, He-Man, everything with this series is messed up. And let's not forget, it's not He-Man Masters of the Universe, it's just Masters of the Universe Revelations, so... well, it's not technically He-Man. Who needs He-Man, guys, right? A franchise about the character? Nah, who cares? Who cares about him? He's just a toxic white dude. Have you played the Halo games? I have played every Halo game. I didn't finish the last one. I played most of it, though. I didn't finish all the content in it, though. All the other games that I finished, basically all of the content in them. I really like the Halo franchise. I'm hopeful for Infinite. I hope Halo Infinite comes out and it's good. I hope that it's not complete garbage. The new trailers looked better for it, but we'll see. I'll be playing it when it releases. Guys, so many games, movies, TV shows coming out that could be good, that there's just something wrong with them. Like Halo, it looked too rushed. He-Man, Masters of the Universe Revelations, literally everything's wrong with it. Where is entertainment going? We have to hashtag save entertainment. It's time. Everything's being ruined now. Maybe a new game will come out that'll be good soon. That won't have any kind of narratives, political agendas it's pushing. And it'll just simply be a good game. And I think that some games still come out and are that way. But, well, companies want to look good. And if they can, you know, race swap a character, throw in a bunch of diversity, and they think it'll make them more money, then they're going to try it. Now, does it usually make them more money? Well, that's a completely different story. They think it's going to make them more money, but usually that doesn't happen. Hashtag Free Britney. I don't talk a lot about celebrities on my channel, guys, but holy fucking shit. Hashtag Free Britney. Mother of pearl. That situation's bonkers. My gosh. The only thing, though, is there's gotta be something. There's gotta be some reason why that conservatorship is holding up. There's gotta be something. And it shouldn't. But there's gotta be something that they're using. That is a messed up situation. No censorship or microtransactions either. That would be amazing. If we could just get a game that the story's amazing, gameplay's perfect, no censorship, microtransactions. I've always said this. I'll give companies a little bit of wiggle room when it comes to microtransactions, as long as the microtransactions are cosmetic, and as long as you can earn the currency by playing the game itself. Like, as long as it's not over the top. You have cosmetics that you can buy in a shop that aren't like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars. They're reasonable. Then okay. But that's the only wiggle room I'll give companies, is cosmetic microtransactions that do not affect game stats or the way that you play at all. I I'd like to think they were trying to protect her from blowing everything she's earned. Yeah, even though they've blown everything that she's earned. For me, the part isn't the fact that she can't control all of her assets. Because if she has problems that aren't being brought up, then okay. But the part for me that is the most fucked up part, and I never talk about this stuff, but I figured I'd tell you guys really quickly since you all were talking about it in chat. The fucked up part is the fact that they're letting her not, like, have a baby if she wants one, and she can't get married. That's the fucked up part. That is the part that whatever the fuck is going on, that's why it should be nulled. Right there, 100,000%. They force her to keep an IUD in. She can't get married. That's fucked. That right there is the worst part about it. For video games, my best hope are into indies. There are some genuinely amazing indie games out there. Indies are such an extremely important part of the industry, and I talk about indies a lot. I talked about indies and Sony a couple days ago, like a week ago almost. Indies are such an incredibly important part of the industry, and big companies need to appreciate indie developers and games coming out of indie studios more. It's just... It sucks that indie developers, I feel, are not as appreciated as they could be. I think that indies, to some companies, are important. I think Nintendo appreciates indies a little bit. Sony, not so much. Microsoft, again, not as amazing with indies, but they still have ways they promote indie developers in games, but such an important part of the industry. And amazing games can come out of indie studios as well. And I say the same thing for, like, kickstarted games. Sometimes people view games that are kickstarted as games that could not succeed unless they had support, and that's not always the case. Kickstarted games, Indiegogo, whatever it may be, funded games, yeah. Why does Orko have cat eyes? Because why not? Come on, guys. Let's not be mean about Orko's eyes. Look at the hat. It's one cute fucking hat. A lot of indies bend the knee too. You could say that, but any company can bend the knee to outrage. Indies, you know, AAA studios, Japanese developers, Western developers, anyone can bend the knee. It's not just like indies or not indies. Outer Wilds, great game. Outer Wilds, for me, it was okay. It wasn't amazing, though. I just feel like Outer Wilds was just generic. It wasn't bad. It just wasn't amazing, you know? But alright, you guys. I am going to wrap up the stream in just a minute. If you guys have any last-minute questions or comments, feel free to leave them into the chat now. Leave them in the chat. Put them into the chat now. I'd be happy to answer any questions you guys have. And then I'll wrap up stream in a minute. I will be talking about this in a video tomorrow. The whole Masters of the Universe Revelation situation. I have made 3 other videos on Masters of the Universe Revelations. So if you guys want to go and check those out, feel free. Just to get caught up on the situation a little bit. I try to recap in videos and in live streams, but Masters of the Universe has just been hit after hit after hit. There's been a lot. Like Chris said, before you go, smash the like button. We are at 99 likes right now. If you enjoy the content, please consider becoming a Dark Titan via Patreon for just $1 a month, and consider donating via Streamlabs. All donations pop up, $3 or more. Text-to-speech activates. I will let you guys know what I'm going to be streaming again next soon. I don't know what game I'm going to be playing next, because I kind of want to start a new story game, probably over the weekend. I don't know yet, though. Maybe this weekend I'll just fill time, like a game I've played in the past, like a waifu anime game, or like a Call of Duty or Apex. Something just very casual. I don't know yet, though. I do want to start a new game soon. I don't know what yet. I have to figure that out. Please don't question me. Dark Souls playthrough when? Never. You should play a keyboard synthesizer on stream if you have one, that is. I do. It's just playing instruments on stream is so difficult. Because you need everything set up in a specific way to play instruments. Because, like, my voice right now would be so quiet compared to an instrument. And then the setup, I would be blocked in. If I put a keyboard here, I'd be blocked. I'd be in a cube. But it's okay. Tales of Arise. I usually don't stream the Tales games because they are very long, but Tales games are good. I don't know what's coming out soon. I feel like there's some game that's coming out soon, and I'm just completely blanking on it. What is it? Doki Doki? That comes out soon. Doki Doki Literature Club. What's it called? Plus? Yeah, it's called Plus. That comes out at the end of the month. I feel like there was something else in July. Is there? Or am I just crazy? I don't know. It's been an odd week. I think I'm a little overtired, guys. Play Saints Row if you haven't already. I am not a huge fan of Saints Row. I will be honest. Saints Row, the first one was okay. And I don't know. It's never been my franchise. The first one was okay. The third one was, in my opinion, awful. I would not play Saints Row again. That's a franchise I probably will never pick up again. Guardians of the Galaxy. Ah, yes. That comes out on my birthday. I am not going to be streaming it. I could stream it for the memes, but I don't think I'm going to be streaming it for the memes. I don't want to support Avengers and Guardians of the Galaxy games because they are always freaking awful. But, alright, you guys. I am going to end the stream here. Thank you all so much for stopping by tonight. I do appreciate it. If you all enjoyed, make sure to give the stream a like. If you didn't, give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way. Check out the links in the description. Follow me on social media, Twitter, Minds, BitChute, Odyssey. Join our Discord. We're very active there. I do tag you all when I go live in case YouTube doesn't notify you of the live stream. Consider becoming a Dark Titan via Patreon for just $1 a month. What else can I promote? What else can I self-shill? I don't know, guys. I don't think there's anything else. I will have a video up tomorrow about Revelations, so make sure to stop by the channel to watch that. But thank you all so much for stopping by tonight, and have a great evening, everyone.